So let's continue with ancient wisdom for modern spaces. We're going to go into Feng Shui. So Feng Shui means what? Wind and water. It's pronounced Feng Shui. It's actually an ancient Chinese practice that examines the influence of the environment in human well-being. So it's a study of earth energy in the space and surrounding that may affect your life. So Feng Shui, it actually goes back into ancient China more than 5,000 years ago. It's a way to observe and analyze landform, waterway, structure, placement known as classical Feng Shui, which is flying stars. Okay, flying, why? Because it changes. Stars meaning the constellation where the stars out there, the movement of the stars and the planets. That's why flying stars. So observation, landform, meaning every structure, the mountain represent a landform. Water, right? Because mountain and water move qi, move energy. And energy goes from high land to low land. That's why it's important. So classical Feng Shui actually focuses on 4 predominant factors: the environment, the property, the residence, and time and space. In terms of when they move in or when the structure was built, for example. So, Feng Shui myth. I want to go through this. The Feng Shui it isn't magic. It isn't a religion. It isn't Chinese culture only. It does not discriminate only to Chinese, right? It's not a belief. It's not a get rich quick scheme. It's not about Chinese decoration. That's called New Age or fast food Feng Shui. You know, when I started in 2015, I have to admit that I started with a couple of teachers, master, that's all into selling me a new trinket, something new to hang, to wear, to display. Pretty soon, my home looks like a Chinese restaurant. In fact, I still have that in boxes that I gotta stop giving away or do a garage sale. So admittingly, I followed the wrong master. Right? However, having said that, like I mentioned earlier, you can actually, if you think that the color red give you luck, psychologically, if you're wearing red that day and you go on the job interview or you're gonna go gamble, and you feel lucky, great. Right? If it's, what you believe in, great, if it helps you with that, right? But it's not anything of that, okay? That's why if you follow the wrong school or the wrong method, it will be a hit and miss, okay? Hit and miss. So Feng Shui is not about the piao and the lucky dragon or the money tree or the 3-legged frog or the Mandarin ducks or the yin and yang symbol or the sky horse or the bagua or the laughing Buddha or the Chinese coins. Okay, none of that, none of these. Although I own these before. Okay, anybody own about this? And right, you want mine? I can send you mine, giving away. Okay, so this is my wrong school at the beginning when I started. Okay, so these are the people that use Feng Shui. Believe it or not, it could be individual, corporation of all kinds, right? The bold one are the one that I have case study about. For example, corporation. I personally, when I used to live in Yorba Linda, California, a few years back, and they were building a brand new Whole Foods, and I wanted to say, okay, is it really true that Whole Foods follow Feng Shui? Man, I was literally there since the day one day they start building that store. So it's what we call, it's an anchor store. When there's a new shopping center, the anchor store is meaning the biggest store, and Whole Foods was the biggest anchor store, right? And I chart that thing, and I tell you, I apply in my advanced case study class, the next class, and boy, is it true. Is it true about where the door is, where the heating, cooking area, where people hang around, where there's a cashier is down to the map. I mean, to the flying star chart. Same thing with the Mirage Resort. The purpose why, if you have been to the Mirage Resort and Spa in Las Vegas, They have the volcano and the active waterfalls, right? Both serve its purpose. And then Donald Trump tower buildings, every building tower he has is Feng Shui. I mean, you can literally see it. You can see it if I point it out. You cannot see, he's not going to hang all this trinket, right? You literally, he will use water and metal to remedy or to activate, literally. I mean, that's what these people are very so popular or successful. Okay, so the 8 trigrams, I want you to take this chart to heart because it's going to show you, and it represents multiple factors, and it has multiple layers. Very important. For example, your qua, your lifestyle is in here. So let's say if your lifestyle was a 9, that is the fire element. So you see here, it's the 9, right? Your lifestyle qua that we first started with in your chart. That means the fire element. That means it resides in the what? In the south. Okay. Also represent the middle daughter. If you're the only daughter, that means you are the middle and eldest and the youngest. Okay. It also represents your eyes, your heart, your small intestine. Represent the emotion of sadness and joy. It's a rectangular shape. It's represent the summer season, the color of red and purple, and the east group. There's east group and west group in the 8 mansion, which I will share next. Like for example, if you are a 1, you're a water element, you're in the north sector, right? Represent the middle sun and so on and so forth. So all of these, if you look at also study in traditional Chinese medicine, each represent an organ or the place in the body. For example, I mentioned earlier about the liver. The liver is the wood element. You see that? The liver is hardwood. 3 hardwood elements, the liver, throat, and feet. Again, if you have too many of one element or missing an element in your chart, that means you have what? Imbalances of these organs or body parts, area in your body, right? Imbalances or issue, and more likely, the first thing that will hit in having your health challenge will be in this area. More likely you will die from this area because your body is not balanced. It's weak in that area. And that's what traditional Chinese medicine will point out. Imbalances. Okay? Too much or too little or missing. Excessive or not enough. Both does not serve your body. So again, looking back, okay, your chart. What are your area, your natal chart right here? Okay, we're gonna look. Okay, we already did that. Sorry. Okay, yeah. So I want you to look back right here. Okay, your lifestyle, your qua. Okay, remember this is 2, and that's okay, that's 2 Earth, right? So for example, 2 Earth is right here, reside in the northwest sector. That's your direction, 2 Earth. Okay, so now let's do another exercise. The exercise is we're going to look at your family dynamics. So if you have more than just you, what we're going to do is we're going to identify your qua and the element. For example, 2 was the earth element, so it's 5 and 8. So if you qua 2, 5, and 8, you belong to the earth element. Fire is the number 9. 3 and 4 is the wood element. 1 is water, and metal is 6 and 4. So now, we're going to identify which in your family dynamic, the people in your family, element they are in the relationship. For example, let's say I have a father that is qua 6, a mother qua 8, a son is qua 4, daughter is qua 1, and the mother-in-law is qua 9. Favorite, right? So what if I put these into this red area and label them? You label your family member's name, okay? Let's say the mother-in-law's name is Mary and she's Qua 9. So you're going to put next to the number 9, you're going to put Mary. So everyone go ahead and draw this chart right here. And when you draw and make a mindful chart about the 5 element circles in this order on a piece of paper. And you're going to put down the Qua or lifestyle of each of your families right here. Label them accordingly. So if you have a father, it is Qua 6. So I put down here, he is a metal. Qua 6 is a metal. Okay. The daughter is the water element in my example. And the son is the wood 4. Qua 4. Okay. So now let's analyze this. This is the family dynamic. Which relationship are supportive, in harmony with, or clashes? Remember, we want productive. Okay, we want supportive or similar. So let's analyze this. The father is a metal. So metal chop wood. So do you think the father and the son, being wood, have a harmonious relationship? Probably not. The father will always try to control the son, getting on his nerves, right? Okay. How about the mother-in-law? My goodness. Hopefully they're not in the same household. So the mother-in-law is what? Fire. Guess what? Fire burn what? Metal to molten to liquid. So you think the mother is always on top of the son-in-law? Right? Always getting on his nerve, testing him. Okay? How about the mother? The mother, being earth, she may what? Get into the daughter's nerves. Right? Okay? But the father is very supportive of the daughter. So this is baby right here. See, metal produces water. See, the father, being metal, support productive cycle, right? Clockwise, the blue arrow, support the daughter. So you see that, and then the daughter, the daughter support the son, meaning the sister support the brother. You see that? And then the son support his grandmother. His grandmother. You see that? And then the mother support her daughter. You see how that dynamic? And then the wife support her husband. You see that? So that is the dynamic. So do your family chart when you get a chance. That's your homework. What happens when family members have the same elements? Pretty much they can get along. They can understand each other. They find things in common. They see things eye to eye, right? So if let's say 3 and 4 is the same element, or 2, 5, and 8 is the same element, right? So 8 mansions. These are basically just your favorable and unfavorable directions. So you're going to find this in page 1, in this area right here, page 1. Okay, I would focus on favorable direction only. Okay, so here are the meaning right here. So if you acquire 2, 6, 7, or 8, you consider the west group, which is in the blue color. These are your favorable directions right here in the first 4 column. Okay, just focus on that. In the next slide, I will show you the meaning of each. For example, if you at work, your computer desk, making phone calls, okay, doing work related, and each of these Qua, you would be facing, meaning your nose pointing, facing these direction. For example, if you're Qua 6 people, they should be facing the west direction while they're sitting on the computer desk, making a phone call, prospect, right? West, nose facing west, pointing, looking at the west direction. If you want to boost your health, for example, recovering from something, be in your health direction. In the sleeping position, if it's health, sleeping position, we count that as the bedroom headboard, the headboard of the wall that you're in. So if you are Quad 7, for example, and you want to recover from something, or you want to have good health, your bedroom headboard should be on the southwest wall. You understand? Because when you lay down, it'll be pointing in the southwest if you Quad 7 in this example. Same thing with love in the bedroom. You can always do that. And you're lucky if you and your spouse are in the same group, west group. It's easier for me to choose a house or bedroom sleeping position when the husband and wife is in the same group. It's difficult when they're in the east, one is in the east and one is in the west group. Kind of difficult. You have to kind of compromise, when I do a consultation. Stability, you want restful, seniors would like stability too if they want, because then you get noble people guiding them and diagnosing their illness and everything. Okay, and then the rest of the 4 columns is not, not so good. But the one last column I can point out is total loss. Could be tragic event, accidents is the total loss right here. So just avoid the last column here, total loss. Or the other one, not so bad. But here are the meanings. So life generating growth, the first one where you sit for work, prosperity, any kind of power, authority. So you want to be sitting in your power direction. That is the success life generating direction. Okay. And same thing with heavenly doctor, bedroom for good health, especially elderlies, or sleeping direction to obtain peace and calmness, or you want to meditate in that direction. And then romance, right, including communication. So these are the breakdown. Now, I mentioned about your home affinity. What happened when there's missing sectors? I gave you an example of this before. Let's say you have a home that has, a missing area, and it's missing in the northeast. The sector, let's say in the northeast corner, is sitting outside the house. That means you cannot capture the auspicious chi. So if the person belongs in the Quad 8, which is in the northeast corner, and he or she is either the tiger or a horse, tiger or an ox, which also is in the northeast quadrant, and they're in the industry of wellness, fitness, and nutrition, they will not have an affinity in this area. Meaning this home is not suitable for this person. If they're a tiger or an ox, an animal, if they're Quad 8, and if they work in this industry, not a healthy environment for them. It's hard for them to thrive. Let's put it that way. And I have seen homes like this. In fact, I did a consultation with a couple. Their home is probably worth, 8-10 million right now in Calabasas. And when I did the Feng Shui, their home is kind of carved out. The missing sector is the rooster animal. That means the west, because the home is kind of half circle type in a way, because the entrance has a waterfall, fountain and everything. And the eldest daughter was a rooster. Oh, guess what? She was the first one to leave out of college when she was 18, didn't do well. I came back, and 2 years ago to this day, she is now 22, 23. She still haven't figured out what she wanted to do with her life. College didn't work out. She flunked the classes, failed, not good. And I already told the parents, this house does not have an affinity with one of your daughter, and they have 4. They have 2 girls and 2 boys. I say this daughter will be affected, because I already see the rooster affinity. And if she is the Qua, right, the Qua that also falls in that is also, right, or go into the industry, that would not, for example, right. So the later Heaven Bagua map for the next class would have that, the industry. I will give you that map. Okay, so let's look into 2025 energy as we go into this and how we remedy them and what each of these number means. So this is the energy, like in numerology, everything is energy, right? Every number has an energy in Flying Star Feng Shui. So let's put this into perspective. These are the flying star and the animals. So I created this compass right here. For example, the rooster reside in the west is now enjoying the energy of the 4 energy, that is romance, scholastic achievement, academic achievement, right? Each of the number represent. So each of these is here. So now the center, you will find the center normally represent illness, ailments, okay, stress, which affects every property in the world for 2025. So everyone is stressful, everyone's getting sick, hard to recover, illness lingering, right? Everybody's affected for 2025. Everyone's stressful, everything. Okay, drama. And that is the energy for 2025 in Feng Shui. Okay, so here it is. First, we're going to step into the 4 annual afflictions. There's certain area that you got to stay away from renovating, digging, knocking. Okay, you got to keep these areas that's highlighted quiet. And the only one that I would recommend do not use is the red one right here in the northeast sector, because the northeast sector is afflicted by the energy of the flying star number 5, which is the worst. People just don't want to see this. Thank God my northeast is in my bathroom, so I don't spend too much time in the bathroom, right? Unless you sleep and work in there. So that's great. If that energy is not a room where you use often, then you need to worry. Don't need to remedy. But if it's energy that is your front door, for example, I'll show you on the last slide how to remedy that. Okay. And then anything so for this area in the east, for example, it's affected by the 3 killings. Stay away, keep quiet, right? So again, the 5 northeast is the only one that I would say to avoid. I would say to avoid the northeast because it's your energy. And going up to the Grand Duke, the Tai Sui, which is the southeast, just this little area right here, southeast, very little. That's why the Lopon compass would help you kind of get a better idea what sector when you get that page. Down here is the year breaker. Year breaker is Supo, which is the opposite of the ruling animal. So 2025 is the snake, right? The snake which reside right here in the compass. The ruling animal, and then the opposite of that is the year breaker. I mean, the pig are affected. So if your sign has a pig in there, you may be affected. Okay, so the opposite. And then when you talk about Feng Shui, try to stay away from renovating, refurbishing, digging up trees, roots and all that. Just stay away. We don't want any accident or risk of any injury or bad luck. Now let's talk about the influence of period 9. So basically you're going to see 3 cycles in Feng Shui: the upper, the lower, and the middle, and then 9 periods. Each of the period again represent the element like what we already know about, right? So this is consistent with the period and the number and the elements. And also you're now introducing to what we call the years. It is a 20-year cycle. 20-year cycle. So you look down here in lower level, period 8 was previous for 20 years. I mentioned the 2024, starting last year, we stepped into period 9, which we went from earth element to fire element. And this represents an industry also. Fire industry represent anything that has to do with fireworks, right? Anything that has to do with metaphysical and communications and marketing and social media are all fire industry. So you track down right here, for example, we go back to 1964 to 1983. This was what? The boom of the Industrial Revolution, right? This is where they call the manufacturing, where the car productions and everything started. And then after that is period 7. So period 7 is the information age, is the communication age, is the microchip. And that's why, so the manufacturing was the big metal, right? All the big metal. And now yin metal, which is 7, right? This is where microchips. This is the mainframe computer with the yang metal. This is the microchips, small devices. For 20 years is how information age grew. And then we have real estate boom. This is the time when real estate boom, prices is going up and crazy. There was a slump during this time, but prices is still going up, right? But guess what? It already ended. So now the phasing of the earth element goes into the fire element for the next 20 years. 20 years. In other words, when you focus on the fire industry for the next 20 years, everyone, you cannot go wrong. You got to be really bad if you cannot make it if you're in the right industry the next 20 years. So what is it? This is the metaverse. This is the digital AI. This is the virtual space. These are the real estate that is taken on websites. Virtual space, right? This is the dominating industry. These are the cosmetic and beauty industry. It's the fire industry. You cannot go wrong. Powerful. So let's dissect the timely stars in period 9. Remember, if it's timely, that means it's in period 9. That means it's auspicious. So let's look at this. The one reside in the southeast. You look at the one here. The energy of your property that's in the southeast is influenced by the energy of 1. That means recognition, advancement, fame, and reputation. So if you are doing promotions and looking for, promotion or any kind in your job or your work, build your brand, then you go around and sit and do your work in the southeast as long, as frequent as you can. You just activate that by applying your energy there. The center is a 2. Again, there's illness, pain, miscarriage, stress, and diseases. Everyone is influenced by it. When every property has the center, has the illness, stress. Okay. Northwest is the argument, gossip, dispute, lawsuits, stress, and robbery. Northwest is the 3. It's a 3. Avoid that if you can. Avoiding or not activating it. Don't put water in there because why? The 3 is a wood element. Wood will fuel that some more. Okay. Put red if you can because red is fire. Fire will burn the wood energy. West has the 4. This is academic achievement, scholastic achievement, romance, and creative pursuits. If you want to do something, go to school or something, go sit in the West. Use that sector and face your success direction. Number 5 is the worst energy. Number 5 is in the northeast. This is when everyone watch. Where is the 5 yellow is what we call it. Disaster, financial loss, divorces, accident, illness, and pain, misfortune, danger, delays, casualty, fire, stress, setbacks, and quarrels. I tell you, the 5 is something we have to stay away, not activating it, meaning no renovation. I moved into a space in November, a new space, and I had no choice but I wanted to do some work before I move in. Got some, 3 guys coming in, do some work, and I know I activated the 5. Because why? The delays, right? Some trouble with the repairs and the upgrades. I want to do some upgrades. So we had no choice but drill, knocking and drilling and all the noise, right? And it was last year was in the west. The 5 was in the west last year. I had no choice. The home was facing west. But I minimize and do it by putting metal, because metal subdue and control earth, right? I remedy with metal and salt cures, which I'm going to give you the formula later. Salt cures around that space. So wherever they work, wherever's afflicted, I place those in the area for the 3 workers. So I want to make sure there's no accident either, right? I don't want to be liable. And I know that we're working, with the 5 energy in my front door. South is affected with the 6, which is good. The heavenly luck, successful, helpful people, power, authority, and reputation. North is the 7. The 7 is about backstabbing, violence, burglary, bloodshed, rivalry, and opportunity taken away. That means opportunity, like a promotion, or even jail time. That means freedom. Freedom taken away can also mean jail time. Financial loss, robberies, stress, and loss of high value items. I'm telling you, this is also very true. I find it true for myself and based on my experience. Okay? So do not activate and avoid in this space, especially if the 7 is combined with the 5, is the worst. Or 7 combined with the 2, but 7 and 5 is the worst. Like the month energy, because this energy falls in, it changes daily, it changes monthly, it changes annually. Okay? The Southwest, you get the 8, prosperity, wealth, success. Let me move my, okay, Southwest. So it's still good, but it's not timely anymore. The last 20 years, it was period 8, so it's very auspicious. That's why you always see, Chinese, number 8's lucky, number 8. But now the 8 is starting to, soften. Now the 9 is stepping in, which is in the east. The 9 is enhancing and magnifies any number that's combined to it. It intensifies. That means future luck, happy events, marriage luck, advancement, promotion. This all makes the visiting star from bad to worse or good to better, meaning it magnifies whatever it's in combined with. But in the period of 9, it is a good number. So in other words, the wealth is still in the 8, right? But you can also say the wealth is also in the space of number 9. So that means Southwest and East are good spaces to spend time with. And if your home is facing any of these green directions, especially Southwest or East, you're in good hands. You're in good hands. Okay? So flying star activation and remedy. So if any animal palace that fall into whether it's positive and negative sector, whether the main entrance, your bedroom, your qua palace, it will affect you positively or negatively influenced by these energies. So activate this auspicious energy by what? By using the space, meaning you as your energy body, use that space to activate it. Anything of movement, for example, sound, music, a fan, a bright light, that activates it too if you don't use that room. Any color and element that enhances that element. If it's an inauspicious, the red color energy, if it's an inauspicious in that space, keep it quiet, dark, avoid using it, or maintain in a yin space, right? Close the windows, for example. Avoid using it, avoid activating it, make loud noise, anything. Then that's how we do it. So usage is important. So 2 ways to activate or deactivate is number 1, modify the strength of the 9 stars. For example, naturally the external form, so water activate energy. So the water in that sector will naturally activate what's inside that space. That's a form, right? And then the 5 element remedy cycle. So remember, we want to subdue, we want to lower, exhaust. We don't want to create a clash remedy, okay? So here is the summary. I'm going to leave you with this before I give you the remedy and we'll wrap up. Here's the summary. The good sectors to use, okay? And then the sectors to avoid or do not activate. Now, do not activate meaning avoid knocking, digging, loud sound, right? Avoid water in there, so depending on which one it is. So that's form of activation when used, okay? So remedy through what? To salt cures. Salt cure, these are what we call the negative flying stars that are in the red. So you see the red colors right here, I need you to remedy them in these sectors, okay? Especially the 5, which is the northeast. So here is your salt cure formula. I buy Monera Dead Sea Salt on Amazon. There's a 20-pound bag, 5-pound bag, 10-pound bag. I find 6 copper pennies, shiny pennies, as new as you can. Why copper? Is because copper absorb negative energy. That is proven. Okay. Why 6? 6 is the yang metal element. Remember, the Kwa 6 is yang metal, which is in the northwest. Okay. So what I do is I would put the salt in there, about 3/4 full. The salt, I put 3/4 full of a jar. The jar should have wide opening. The mouth of the jar should have wide opening. And then I pour in the water to fill up the jar. After I put in the pennies first and then pour in the water. And you're going to leave in these sectors that is in the red. We leave in the 2, the 5, the 3, and the 7, right? The red numbers, the red flying stars. So these are the instructions right here. Keep out of reach from children and pets. Okay, so you can leave this. So throw this out. Depending how affected, how it responds to it. Fill up the water from time to time because they do evaporate. And then I need you to dispose it in the toilet. Make sure you take the penny out, okay? Or dump it in the drain, the public drain. Make sure you don't touch the water because it has absorbed the negative energy already. So the salt cures is the one that is taking the negative energy. It takes the hit rather than you taking the hits, because we already know that salt purifies, salt heals, salt absorbs negative energy, right? And so is copper. And this is the gift to you. I'm giving you this remedy right here. And then in my advanced class, I go into more remedies in other techniques too. Okay. Well, guess what? It's the lucky winner time. Yay! Yay! How many of you have been waiting for this? Thank you for your patience. Only went over time a little bit. That's all. No.
Yeah.
Okay, let's look at this. I will pick a winner. Then I will run the chart. And if you are selected, you're welcome to text me in the chat directly to me. If you don't want your birthday to be known, you can send me personal direct to me in the chat your birthday and hour. You need to have your hour of birth to be accurate. There are 10 divine spiritual virtues. These are the 10 in which that we need to learn. These are the 10 that we need to learn in this lifetime. In this incarnation, as a soul, we came here to learn and master one of this. And you will find, and most of you will probably have an idea if you are awakening, you have an idea that some of these kind of keep appearing in your life and it keep hunting you. In other words, it keep presenting in your face until you get it right, until you master it with peace and grace, right? So, for example, in my case, my lesson is detachment. I say, oh man, I have to detach everything. And my grandfather was a Buddhist monk when he passed. My father was a Buddhist monk in Vietnam when he passed. In other words, I have lineage of monks and spiritual people, and that's all about detachment. So what is my issue is I need to detach the outcome. So it's not detaching about a person or a thing or object. My challenge is I have a goal and I have an outcome in mind, right? The end result. So I need to detach. Okay, I set the goal, I move towards that goal, but I have to let go of control of the outcome of the end result. That means I allow myself to flow, and I have to trust that where I'm being guided, and universe is guiding me through this entire process to getting things that I'm meant to receive, right? So that was my challenge. So I'm gonna ask who, raise your hand,